Hello! Good afternoon. Good general lunchtime type situation. So, this is one that's actually kind of a continuation of a request from earlier. The guy wanted to see a whole bunch of sort of tentacly creatures versus a whole bunch of hippie swords. Well, here is kind of something that was, it kind of came out of that thought process. So, we got Songstresses versus Hydras. Then there was Silence here, representing the musicians. Looking through them all, we got Yura leading them, because, you know, she's kind of the only non-pumpkin songstress. So we got 3 with whips, 3 with instruments, the rest with staves and all that sort of thing. And yeah, then 3 of them with knives. We've got varying different degrees of skills in each of them. As per usual, they're all starting off at base level for everything, and will just kind of rank themselves up over the course of the fight. So yeah, they're all given different elements, they're all given different things. The only thing that's universal between all of them is that they have access to the full extent of their singing abilities. So if you're unaware, with one vision, songstresses, or bards, or whatever you want to call them, they don't suck anymore. They're actually pretty darn dandy. They basically get access to all of the war dances, they get access to a few of the other abilities that just were available to other classes. Before, it was pretty much a limited selection of buffs and debuffs that didn't have a tendency to go very far. So at this point, yeah, instead of just songs, they get access to dances and stuff like that too. Not to mention they're pretty competent casters just on top of that. And over here we have Hail Hydra. So we have all of these Hydras here. These took a hot minute to actually go and collect. So yeah, going over their skills, as with all the other monster ones, they came in only with the equipment that they were hired with, because, you know, these are essentially representing the monsters in the wild, not necessarily the perfect version. If you're getting a version made by a player, odds are it would just be, you know, an upgraded Assault, which is like 5 extra damage, and an upgraded Ring of Alacrity, which is 20% more accuracy. So you get a band instead of a ring. You know, it's just a flat upgrade. This is pretty much as it is. So we got all this right here. They actually all were supposed to have anatomy. I somehow missed this one over here. But yeah, they all have the same skill set, as you can see. So they have Tactician for raising everything up as they go, Shadow Resonance, Delirium Haze, Toxic Breath, Dash, Disembowel, Tail Lash, Baleful Mist, Vile Breath, and Anatomy. So Attack 2, that's, you know, pretty obvious what that does. Shadow Resonance, essentially a buff to everything around, because they actually have a weapon in OV, they are able to make use of their actual weapon buff that they all came with. It's a little bit odd that they somehow didn't have a solution to that in base game, but whatever. Delirium Haze, which I kind of wonder if that's a reference to the song. So that's essentially a Charm Explosion. We got Toxic Breath, that's essentially like does Charm just in a line. Dash does what it always did. Disembowel, which is a TP scaling Smackify with their face move. Tail Lash, which has always done what it does, and then Baleful Mist, which is Envenom. They got Envenom and Charm and all of that sort of thing. Now, as far as why these two would be fighting each other, these are both parties that are very effective at mass charming. So all of the dancers are very good at throwing charm all over the place. They get access to, I think it was Demon Petal. That's the name of the thing. Now we can go ahead and take a look at that right here. And of course, they're an Omish. By the way, yes, she has basically been given... Let's go ahead and interrupt her real quick so I can set the AIs, because unfortunately, for some reason, I did not do that. Now, they're all going to be set to... Actually, let's set them all to Vanguard, because a few of them are actually ranged units, I believe. I don't know how many spawned in with boulders. But if they spawned in with boulders, they spawned in with boulders. Let's see, did any... No, actually. Surprisingly, they do not spawn in with boulders. That might be an update in the future, at which point I will go ahead and update them. But yeah, these ones did not spawn in with boulders. That, put them all in melee. Also, the dance moves on all the dancers got improved as well. You know, that kind of should be a running theme at this point. Just about everything is improved. Actually, I can't think of anything that wasn't improved. But if we go through their skills here, like Superstar and Limelight. So Superstar clears debuffs and charges TP. This one lowers luck and, or rather raises luck and lowers RT. Previously, they extended the length of certain debuffs, and then they From there on, they... what was it? I think the other one just extended range of some of the dances. But the weird part is that you couldn't have both of them at the same time, which would have been the one case where they would have been really useful together. Then if you had 2 turns to set that up, you could essentially do like a mass debilitating debuff thing, but as previously mentioned, you could only have one active at a time, so... no. You could still do a mass debuff thing, just it wouldn't be very good necessarily. So they've all been equipped for endgame. I've been corrected since last time that when it comes to any of these classes, if they're going to be fighting any monster units, they better friggin' be ready for endgame, because, you know, those monster units, they scale up to 50. Everyone else, they scale a lot less. They get a lot of their stuff in their equipment. Alright. Let's see here. Personally, I think it's probably going to go to the dancers. They've got heals. They've got a lot of buffs. They don't have nearly as much hitting power, but they do potentially have just as much charming ability. So I think... well, I guess it could go either way. If Hydras get close, if they end up getting beat on by, say, the dagger builds, and say then a bunch of them do a bunch of damage, charge up their TP, then suddenly they come in with a bunch of smash moves before they're actually able to recover, then it's going to go completely to the Hydras. So we're just going to see another one of those cases where they either thrive or they get overpowered right away. Now, unlike base game dancers and singers and all that sort of thing, they seem to be far better at holding the front line here. All I remember from Yuria from base game was that she had a tendency to get herself killed off and being unbelievably overwhelmed by absolutely everything from the songs. Mostly because this was a case where you had consumables that were necessary in order to even use them. They had a very limited selection, they were very hard to get a hold of, and her weapons were also a bit of a pain to get a hold of. Just everything about her screamed DLC character, which is exactly what she was, but, you know. So, not ideal. So, the main difference between Hydras and Dragons, they don't get access to liftoff. So, they can't fly around this place. Again, I figured they're all pretty much getting into close range, so it hardly matters. And I figure, you know, maybe she's got her, like, little young Padawans here going and defending her port that she was performing in. Well, I guess it's arguable whether that really was her port that she was performing in, because she was kind of possessed at the time. Whatever. That's... So there we go. You can see a lot of those dances have much better range now. So the super amazing ones are pretty short range. Ones like this one, where they're just going and mass buffing their local units, they're gonna end up doing a lot more range out of that. Oh wait. Developing a little bit of a cough here. And yeah, everything about this thing is entirely... it has to be a Blind Guardian reference. He's got the Mordred song. I know a bunch of them have the Blind Guardian hat. Pretty much every line of dialogue that Yuria has for different parts of the fight is some lyric from Then There Was Silence. God, I love that song. It's such a good song. Gonna get all jazzy over here for a while, because they all gotta get Spell Strike going. Now, it may seem like a little bit of a pointless thing for them to be mass buffing themselves like this, but if they're going in with all of their charms and everything else, they're gonna be using the hell out of that. So let's see how this goes. I almost got interrupted out of this yet again, because I keep going to do this Ogre Arena thing. I had this set up, I kid you not, for like 2 weeks now. And every time I'm about to go do it, then there's another thing like, ooh, Mr. Javelins has released yet another AI arena. Dang it! Again? Why is it always on this exact day? So, alright, they're not charging up any TP because they're not really going for a whole lot of melee, but yeah, you know what? They might have enough resistance to pull this off. Just maybe. Yeah. So, calling it now. My bet is entirely on the singers at this point. It seems like they've got dodge for days. Although, even at maximum dodge, that 25% is enough to render a lot of them completely squished. So, funnily enough, I keep getting sick recently and I couldn't figure out why. And of all stupid reasons. Somehow I completely keep forgetting the fact that I'm sitting right in front of an air conditioning vent. And this thing, like, I keep going and talking and doing all that sort of thing. Like, you know what? That thing is blowing around my face. Of course I'm getting a cold repeatedly that keeps going away. Friggin' sitting here talking into an air conditioning vent. Why wouldn't that happen? I'll throw in all of those downs here. Yeah, Stagger and Fall Strike are gonna completely wreck them. Going for the bind. Come on, Tricksters. For once, I want to see the Trickster builds win. Like, even under the AI's control. I know the AI isn't very smart, dang it, but I want it to happen. I think this might finally be the time. I kind of feel like I should be having some Blind Guardian playing in the background of this. Maybe I will. If anyone requests it, I'll do it. Okay, I'm not making anything off this anyway. And funnily enough, it seems like anything that's copyrighted in Europe basically gets a, hey, we're upset about this, but honestly we really don't care that much kind of warning, instead of a, we're actually going to do something about this warning. Like, for example, when I was doing that Monster Hunter thing forever ago, they sent a thing like, oh yeah, don't do any more of that, but then when I went and used a bunch of Sabaton songs, or when I went and used a bunch of Blind Guardian songs or whatever else, they're like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. You just won't monetize it. Okay. I don't care then. Trying to think if the same thing keeps going for, going and doing more March of the Black Queen. Keep meaning to do more of that. But then time's all I can know. This is the first one of the Whippies getting into the fight here. I don't know why they're going in. Going for poison. It's actually going to matter quite a lot in this fight. So, if you missed the update, poison's a lot more effective. Actually, over the course of the last few fights, whenever there's been poison involved, it has by and large accounted for a good like 200-300 damage over the course of the fight. So yeah, it lasts a hell of a lot longer. It's actually worthwhile to use now. Hey, you know what? The Singers might actually end up getting screwed by RNG here. They get very high damage, but it doesn't seem to be enough to save them. Well, I'll reserve judgment until I see one of those Hydras go down. If none of them do, then we're gonna have a problem. Dude, quit critting with those 40%. Rude. Let the Tricksters win for once. I know you can do it. You can do the thing. Ah, jeez. They even got a traitor out of that. Yeah, they seem to really, really love Dragon's Child for some reason. Although I guess that is weakening them, so that's plus. I guess they just see it as spreading around a ton of debuffs. Alright, come on. Do your heal move, guys. One of you's got to do a heal move, or a damage move, or something. It's okay, they're already weakened and inaccurate and everything else. There's really only so many debuffs you can stack on them. Tremor Dance, I think that's stun, if I recall. Yeah, that's stun. It's got pretty good range, but seriously guys, enough. Yes, you're all well and strong. Stop strengthening. What is going on? Stop doing this. You're screwing yourselves. Alright, good. Double miss. Come on, someone do damage. So far that one guy that threw the poison out has done more damage than everyone else, I think. Aside from that one that maybe did avalanche early on, but even still. Okay. Lingering Dance. This is slow, I think. Yep. Well, I guess we're instead going to be doing an experiment on just how many debuffs they can possibly stack on one Hydra. Take a quick moment here to take a look at the numbers. So Hydras are, for the most part, aside from the one guy that's at 236 and scrolling through debuffs like nobody's business. I don't know if it's capturing the mouse here. Let's see. Is it? I don't think it is, but just... Everything's scrolling down there at the bottom. Pretty intense. I've got one down, the rest are iffy, and they don't seem to want to heal themselves. Come on, somebody do Harvest Dance. You should be able to get some good mileage out of that. Come on, dang it. And you can pull it back. All it would take is one Harvest Dance to put them back in the fight right now. Yes, you already got them all weakened. I know for a fact that the AI does know when stuff's weakened, so there's probably just like one that was still missing the buff or debuff. Like, no, I gotta re-up it. I gotta do it. It was just in that exact same spot you're in. What are you doing? What are you doing? Isn't the time to be friggin' trying to show them your dance moves? The Reflect is doing more damage than they are. Oh, jeez. Well, I guess we're gonna have to do Hydras versus Dragons after this. What can you do? Come on, miss it. Do those counters. I got a false strike as if he didn't already have it. Can you imagine how long this would take if that old original resonance move was still here? And another thing, look, mission fixed. Oh look, they figured out healing. Nice. Yeah, I think that one Hydra with poison might be the only possible Hydra casualty out of this entire fight. Keep it up like this. Ugh. Another 25%. Yeah, it's always worth it, even if it's 25%. And if you've got the advantage, you might as well press it. Okay, they're bound. But for real though, are you guys ever going to actually attack anything? Why is your priority on these specific debuffs so high? I almost wonder if it's... Oh, there we go! Finally, one of them figures out the damage is maybe a good idea. If you had done that maybe 5-6 times, that would be a much different story. Or used Harvest Dance at any point. I know you guys have it. Wait, they do have it, right? Didn't just suddenly forget to give it to them? Because they should be counting that in likely the same... Yeah, Harvest Dance is right here, so I don't know why they're not using it. Who knows? Stunned and bound. Yeah, I don't really see how the Songstresses are gonna make it out of this. Hello there, Mr. Cow. Why are you wrecking our floor? Not to mention we're kind of on a beach, so... Doesn't that mean you kind of crawled in from the ocean? You're one of them ocean cows? Oh look! One of them remembered they have Harvest Dance. That only took 2 casualties in nearly the entire fight. Sweet. Go down to that demon pedal, so that should do a pretty good job of charming. Good. Good, 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 good. Finally, they're remembering that they have moves. Maybe it was a TP thing. I'm gonna think that, yeah, what is the TP cost associated with those? They need TPs? Yes, they do need the TPs. They need quite a bit of it. Gotcha. Sea cow? Well, I mean, those are a thing. Got those ones that are all over Florida. Maybe you're a manatee, I don't know. Sometimes you gotta be a manatee. Alright, this is possible. They're actually shaking up the opposite elements and everything. Like right there, I think they did Earth followed by Wind, which should be a fair bit of extra. Yeah, I know, like the Dragon's Child. Must be their favorite song or something. Dragon Child, why are you playing so much? Okay. Shadow Resonance. Come to think of it, have they been ranking up? I wonder if I forgot to turn on the ranking up move. Yeah, you know what? I forgot to turn on quick skill rank up. My bad. Moving on. Yeah, manatees are hilarious though, just on a semi-related note. So I used to have those all the time in Florida, and every time you would go to the, like, they had Moat Marine over there, but basically just any kind of park they would go to, any kind of sea park or whatever else. It's like, here's this giant floating blob that eats grass, and like all they did. They just float around and eat kelp and kind of munch on it. They're like, they're endangered and we gotta protect them because they keep running their faces into active propellers, like one after another. And I remember they were telling us one story where like one of them went and they ran into a propeller because they didn't see it. They just saw a noise and they're like, I gotta go to the noise, and so they get their face chopped up. And then another one's like, I wonder what that noise was. Well, I guess I should go investigate too. And then they also did it, and apparently this happened to like 3 of them in a row. So they're perhaps not not exactly the smartest animal, but still. They're kind of fun to watch. And charmed, okay, nifty. Yeah, sea cows, let's just say survival instincts are maybe not quite there. But, endangered for a reason. I think they were only semi-endangered, last I heard, because they were breeding the ever-living Christ out of those things. Which, honestly, has to be a pretty nice position to be in, because they're like, hey, so just so you know, you never have to worry about anything again, we'll take care of everything, and here you go, just go like bang 24/7. But you know what, this is a pretty nice existence. But yeah, I think it's fair to say the singers are getting kind of whooped here. Got in their ACs. I kind of want to see a mechanized manatee. Okay, so let's see. This guy is still slowly dying of poison. He'll get there eventually. Everybody else is just like mildly injured from taking reflects on account of eating all these pumpkins. So yeah, I think what it is, I needed to have Tactician on more of them. Actually, let me check. Did I have Tactician? I thought I had Tac 2 on them. Because if they don't have Tac 2, then I gotta remake them. Okay, they don't have Tac, so I have to... yeah, that's what it is. So if I remade them with a Tactician, they should be pretty fantastic. So perhaps we shall. Actually, come to think of it, you know what? Friggin' manatee in a dolphin suit. Go to the Stars, the Pit. It's one of the characters. It's kind of more of like a space dolphin. But, he's basically just like a psychic friggin' sea mammal thing. Just goes around telekinetically punching stuff. Pretty great. But yeah, he's actually, I want to say, blast cannoniest of the entire bunch, if I recall. Because he literally can just go and like nuke insta-kill something from on the completely opposite side of a map, but as soon as he gets ambushed, he's basically done for. He's got like no health pool whatsoever, and if his moisture suit ever breaks, unless you run into the weird like 2% odds of ever finding another one, you're kind of just boned, and you pretty much take permanent constant damage from being dried out. I'm gonna find out. Telekinesis, exactly. Alright. Yeah, these guys are definitely boned. I think we shall just remake them with Tactician real quick here, and then we'll run this fight again. Demon Petal is kind of their best weapon. Funnily enough, they're still in this, kind of. Like, now that there's only a few of them left, they're like, hey, we discovered competence. We can actually do stuff now. But the weird part is, I think it's because of how cheap the songs were, that they kept going and using the, like, 10 TP / MP, like, Dragon Dance and all that sort of thing. They kept going and using those moves over and over and over and over and over. looks like I will be interrupted in just a minute here, so if you hear a beep and it goes silent for a second, don't worry, I will be right back. Such things happen. And they are still going at it. Okay. 25%. I have a feeling if all of those 25% were misses so far, that would have been a very different story. Not to mention they probably would have done a lot better if I remembered to turn on quick skill rank up earlier. Oh well, there's still 5 pumpkins. They're still trying. I mean, it took them a while to start trying, but they're trying. Actually, you know what? If they went ahead and they used Limelight over and over, they also would be doing a lot better, but I haven't seen them use it even once. So that's the one that basically makes them go a little bit faster every time they use it. They get a little bit luckier and they get a little bit faster. Actually, no wait, I think that's the one that's... One of them makes them go faster, the other one makes them a little bit luckier and charges TP. There we go, that's what I'm thinking of. Either way, they're better overall is what I'm trying to say here. Of course, the downside remaking the team, Yuria won't have all of her lines from Then There Was Silence anymore. What a shame. That's the real loss here. Maybe for the second fight I will just play Then There Was Silence over it. Run the rest of this and fast forward, because we already pretty much know how it's gonna go. Just this pile of pumpkins and hydras as somebody looks out their window. Does anybody have any idea what happened here? Like, well, the only one here that we can't classify as an animal here is Yuria, so we'll just blame it all on her. He gets picked up by a doctor one day and like, oh, dude, do you want to explain how the town got destroyed in this bizarre manner? Well, I was hungry, I couldn't think of any possible way to cook it aside from hydras. Trying to make myself a pumpkin pie. Grabbed a bunch of children, turned them into pies, or pumpkins. You know, the usual kind of stuff that you do. It's possible. It's very possible. They actually might get one! And yeah, once they have Tactician, this is going to be a completely different story, because they probably will be able to use Demon Petal pretty much every single round. There we go. That's how competence works. See, you guys should have been doing that from the very beginning. Just saved yourself so much trouble. They might just pull it back. It's gonna be so amazing if they pull this back. Actually, if they end up pulling this back, I'm not even putting Tactician on them. Because then they're probably just best described as the slowest of burns. Alright, come on. You know you want to pull this off. Going for a slow. That's perfectly fine. I'm getting all these really unlikely dodges, too. Before they kept eating 25%, but now they're just perfectly fine. So that being said, every single time somebody gets hit, they end up losing another unit, so there's that. Come on. What I really hope is that one of them gets a Demon Petal, like, right on that upper little chunk there. And they end up getting 4 of them, then they just, like, end up delirium hazing themselves. Ah, that'd be great. Yeah, exactly. So pumpkins end up getting turned into stew. Come on, please do a really successful linger dance. Oh, they actually did get a, they did get one of the hydras. 1 pumpkin left, come on. No, 2 pumpkins left. Still doing that for some reason. Come on. You know you want to do it? Not exactly, but it's damage. Okay, they've gotten a few now. Oh, come on. A desperate pumpkin is the most dangerous pumpkin. You know you want to do this. Miss, 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 miss. Come on, miss everything. Ah! Another one goes down. Come on, final pumpkin. The final pumpkin down. Okay. Gotta just shank it for some reason. Nice. Why does something called Dragon's Child hurt Hydra? So yeah, Dragon's Child is just it strengthens allies and then weakens enemies. And it's mostly because they're Hydras, they're not technically not dragons. So, you know, that works. Oh. Okay, so Hydra's won it, but now we're gonna remake that same team with Tactician. Let's go ahead and make a new party here. I wanna say... Oh, do I not even have them on this one? Okay, we're gonna try... Okay, I'm gonna remake them on my PSP then. In the meantime, we're gonna run Hydras vs. Dragons. Here and the dragons. Now scaled herd. Do this thing. And mash triangle so that it actually interrupts on time. Mash, 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 mash. Come on, triangle, interrupt. Interrupt so they don't waste a turn. Yes. Oh, wait, they're perfectly fine. Okay, they already... Never mind, they're already on AI. Here are your mooing dragons, Mr. Cow. The Hydras are a type of dragon. Well, I mean, they technically only tangentially connected these. Because, okay, technically dragons are the best kind of dragons. We can pretend they aren't. Well, I don't see any winglings on them dragons. Maybe there's some of them Chinese dragons, I don't know. We'll go ahead and use that logic. I mean, they're the best, but it's only because they took a bunch of crappier dragons and then just, like, sewed them together. We got such a weird thing out of this one. Not to mention, if Dark Souls is any logic, apparently they can't figure out where to actually stick their heads in different locations. Now, it's kind of funny how they ended up doing the Hydra boss in that one. Because it literally just sits still, it doesn't even get a health bar. It's just like, it drops its heads down, you punch that head, and 9 times out of 10, most people didn't even realize that it's like, it's dropping its heads in the same spot. They're just like, oh god, this thing's overwhelming and it's everywhere and I can't do anything and they murdered the crap out of me, oh god, why? And yeah. Who took their wings? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they got involved in some inter-dragon war or something. And they got their wings ripped off. Which is definitely not stealing a plot line from a story I was reading recently. Yep, totally not that. I mean, in that case it was more griffins than dragons, but you know, same difference. Big ol' bitey dealy, as you do. Actually, yeah, while I'm on, let me go grab the PSP here so I can actually transfer that team over. Uno momento, por favor. Alrighty, back once more. Yeah, hopefully there's enough time to actually put this thing together. Battery's at like 25% on this thing because I forgot to charge it last night. As you do, as you do. Yeah, so far, not a whole lot's happened, huh? They're just kind of slugging it out. Which I guess is kind of just what they would end up doing. Unless one of them suddenly got really political. Like, who do you think is actually smarter there? Because, I mean, we got the dragons here. You've got the one bigger head. You've got the Hydra with the three smaller heads. Who actually winds up smarter in that case? You know? Kinda wonder. Are three heads actually better than one? Are they individually dumber, but then they can coordinate better, but then they probably can't really do the whole higher thought thing better? It's hard to tell. Oh, dang. Looking through all these friggin' save files here, can't even figure out which friggin' one it is. I've literally... Going and trying to make these teams, I've literally gone and used up all 99 save slots in TO here at this point. Kind of nuts. Kind of amazing that I capped out at exactly 99. Which one is the Cow King? I'm assuming one of the black ones there that's all standing up straight like. Seems like it should be. I kind of wish that... Actually, I'm kind of wishing that 24 character limit ended up carrying over to the team names, because I'm trying to figure out some better way of putting them there with silence. And TTW silence looks kind of weird. But what can you do, right? Probably should have picked one of their shorter songs to reference there. Whatever. There was Silink. Good enough. Good enough. And this isn't even the right save file. Fantastic. Yeah, I think so far, despite the fact that I was expecting the Angels versus Liches thing to be the biggest pain in the rear, I think gathering all the Hydras and Pumpkins probably was. Just because of the kind of lack of places where you can actually find Hydras. Don't find too many. Looking through this list here, I think I actually did mean to give him Tactician at some point. I didn't. That's an odd one. Well... Guess they don't need counter hit then. Or wait. Apparently only some of them got Tactician? Jeez, what the hell was I thinking in putting this together? That's why it wasn't. That actually happens quite a fair bit. And by the way, you know what's something kind of odd? Just a weird did you know kind of thing? But, oh wait. The 3 dumb man is literally better than 1 dumb man, but it's different with dragons, but I doubt it. I don't know. Who knows? But strangely enough, if you go and you try to assign the skills from the multiplayer menu, like if you specifically go and you try to buy stuff when you're setting up the teams in their actual menu, like the one that you can't transfer back into the main game, for some reason it's very slow when it's doing like that whole little swoosh, swing kind of sound, like when you're actually buying them. Let's see if I can turn the volume up here. Well, I guess the sound actually is about the same speed, but for some reason the actual animation takes a hell of a lot longer. Like I'd say 2 to 3 times longer. I don't know why. You haven't got a thingy for Buster's thingy yet. Hang on, weren't you describing one yesterday? I was sworn you said you got one. The room has long been the bane of many a cow. Ah, true. That's how beef happens. You just couldn't get away from all those butcher machines. I still don't know why the Hydra doesn't have a bunch of different types of breath. I mean, I guess technically it has twice as many types of breath as everybody else, but I mean, why it isn't like, there was fire, and there was lightning, and there was poo, or something, whatever the last one would be. Alright, let's see. Okay, well, sexuology, that can definitely be replaced. Random racial skills. Tactician on that. Absorb MP, yeah, that can go. Definitely more Tech 2 on everyone. Instruments, yeah, you guys can lose counter hit. I literally never once saw you guys use it. Actually, no, wait, I take that back. Exactly one time when it was used. 2. Now that I've fixed the glaringly obvious problem, you think it will be enough to actually save this? Save it as its own thing. It kind of feels like they could potentially be performing somewhere else, like a canyon. That sounds perfect. Alright, there was one excuse to use the canyon map. I love that thing. And it's saved. Oh, let's go ahead and exit out of this. Go back to the dealie. I have to say the PSP's battery notificator thingy never made any sense to me. Because it's basically, you only get 3 bars, right? It stays at 3 bars up until like 85%, and then it becomes 2 bars, and then it goes to 2 bars, or it goes to 1 bar at like 10%, and then anything below 10% it just suddenly drops to pretty much nothing. Like, why do we have such weird breaking points on this? Anyway. USB connection. Transfer some save files over. One moment. Alrighty, and I'm back. So it's hard to tell with the pile of bodies, but it kinda looks like the standard O dragons are kinda cleaning house here. I say as they get charmed. I can't tell which ones are green dragons and which ones are Hydras. Alright. We've got 4 Hydras still standing, we've got a hell of a lot more dragons than that still standing, but how many of these are asleep and how many are dead? No, they're pretty well dead. Okay. Looks like this is probably going to the dragons. Unless that last minute charm saves them. Secret. Wait, who's writing this? Alrighty then. What kind of world cow domination plans are you planning to do there, cow? Force everyone to eat chicken? I'd be completely okay with that, actually. I don't know, never really been a huge fan of beef. They'll do their job. Well, probably should go post a link to cows with guns here. It's a clusterfuck of epic proportions here, but I think it's safe to say the standard dragons won it. It looks like one head is potentially still better than 3. Of course, unless they end up turning it around here, which is looking pretty unlikely considering their accuracy is more or less about the same in both cases. The Hydras seem incapable of missing, but they also seem incapable of dodging, so... such is life. Alright, last Hydra. Can somehow do this. And yeah, I got the remade singer team all done and ready to go, so we should be ready to launch that in just a sec here. As soon as this last Hydra gives up the ghost. Come on! You cannot do it! It's just a pile of Hydras. You know what this is reminding me of? If you've seen the Battle of the Bastards, it's just reminding me of exactly that. Oh, dude! I need to remake Battle of the Bastards in this. Yes! That exact thing needs to happen. The funny part is, now that I have a working change anybody to any class thing, for the ones that are actually referencing something else, I can actually rename them, even if their stats aren't exactly going to be correct. It's close enough. So, that's an option. That's a thing that can happen. You're already in a frozen pasture. There we go, done deal. Game over. And remembering that game over guy from Smash. Dragons are smarter than stupid dragon. Oh jeez. Okay, so there was silence. Actually, no, you're actually. I don't know if I set their AI correctly. So they are going to be the secondary team. Now we're going to see if Tactician is the thing that makes the difference. Alright, do this thing. Dragons are more smarter. What do you guys think? Should I put there was silence, or then there was silence over this? And yes, unfortunately, because I remade it, she no longer has her dialogue stuff, so it is what it is, unfortunately. Caster. It also could have been because last time I had them set up as melee preference. Fairly certain. So maybe that was the thing that did it. Come on, go the menu you're trying to go to. Not being an idiot does not come easy for me. Yep. I think I lost one turn, but it's fine. And technically speaking, I've already got Then There Was Silence up here. Literally would just take a click of a button. Maybe. I was thinking eventually I need to start putting music over this. Eventually. You only hear the same thing 15 trillion times before you start wondering whether you should maybe switch the music up a little bit. There we go. Now they're doing more stuff. Make that guy all scared like. Checking out, he's eating ghosts. Still not doing very much, but that's only because they're using the low tiers right now. Come on! Alright, screw it. Music's happening. There we go. Maybe if I set it quiet enough, it actually won't trigger the copyright thing and then hopefully it won't get upset. I don't think this was copyrighted in the States anyway. It just gets to that whole we're upset, so we don't care kind of mentality. See. Had 3 messages not get through in a row. Yeah, it always seems like your internet connection's a little bit iffy over there. Using a lot more of their casting abilities this time. I haven't seen as many of them try to get into close range. I wish that they would try to get a little bit further away, but it'll do. There's the first Dragon's Child I've seen the whole time. Yeah, if we can't have the dialogue coming out of Yuria, we'll just have the real deal, dang it. I love how that scared someone off. Such things happen. Friggin' love this song, though. Messages held for review. Well, there you go. Apparently for writing gobbledygook, it held it for review. Why are you writing the gobbledygooks? Funnily enough, I never even realized, like, okay, so I listened to this particular song for, like, 6-7 years, something like that. I never could understand what the hell the lyrics were, like, by and large. I thought it was something completely different. And then even going and looking at the lyrics, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I get it, but whatever. Finally, somebody posts in the comments one day, like, yeah, this is a song about the Iliad. I'm like, I can't believe I never put the song together, because there's references to, like, Troy in there, there's even a friggin' mention of Iliad in there. I said, really? How did I never put this together? Let's see. Give up, but don't understand while it's... Oh, wait, what? While it lets me write part of it, not the whole thing. Okay, fine, I'll turn the music down. Music go bye-bye. There we go. Music go bye-bye. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. Yeah, it's always hard to tell what exactly is going on volume-wise. It's like on my side, it literally just... Like, it's perfectly fine, but then if I even change it slightly... Like, right here, I can't even... It's going so quietly, I can't even hear the song. And apparently it's drowning me out. So, who friggin' knows, right? Is it better now? Is it at least hearable now? The snow, maybe so. Yes, no? Well, fine. Music go bye-bye if nobody can hear me then. Ah! Wanted to have music in the background, dang it! Figured if it's a team that's supposed to be singing the entire time, they better be actually singing. Something about Metalhead Pumpkins just really appeals to me. So, funnily enough, the, Blondie is Alma. Funnily enough, she actually came a long time before Alma. Although she kinda looked... she kinda looked like a hair metal female lead singer from the 80s. I'm trying to remember her name right now. But she looked exactly like her. Actually, just look up the lady that sings for Battle Beast. I think they also looked like that. But that was their original look in March of the Black Queen. And, yeah, they were just like some rando NPC that was kind of there, and they're like, hey, my brother is this awesome NPC that you should go hire. Except he retired because he hates wars, which is why he's gonna go ahead and, as soon as you give him this little badge thing, he's gonna go fight several of them for you because you asked nicely. You know? You just gotta ask nicely. That's... clearly that gets people out of retirement and fighting multiple wars for you. But yeah. As you can get him in this game, you can get him in March of the Black Queen. I don't know if you can get him in OB64. I think you hear... No, you don't hear about him because he isn't around in Night of Lotus just yet. But apparently he was supposed to be in Episode 8 as well. Actually, you found out not that long ago that apparently Matsuno is just... he's pretty regular on Twitter, so I was kind of tempted to go and just start posting on every one of the cat pictures he puts up there, like, hey, when's Episode 8? Wanna go ahead and find out about that. But he apparently already said he's never joining on another big project, so... yeah, they lied in the outro to this game. There won't be another Tactics Ogre. Which sucks. Like, it was right there, you know? I had all this stuff set up, and I keep going making new IPs, and like, look, we have so much cool crap over here, and then it just never gets touched. Which is a sad time. It's definitely a sad time. And it will forever be a mystery to me as to why they didn't try to expand more on this series. This has basically got a lot of what the other ones have, except it's actually got appeal to something other than children. So, I don't know. But they really like going for that whole childy sort of look lately. Someday. Someday. And you know what's funny? Because even though I've heard people say, like, oh, it didn't take off because it was, you know, there was a whole bunch of messed up crap about it, last night, I wasn't feeling particularly well, and was basically done with everything for the day. Kiddo had gone to sleep. You know, wife had a longer day, so I was waiting for her to get home. So I go and I break out, I have this hacked SNES Classic. So the thing has all of the old Genesis games I used to play growing up, as well as a few new ones that I found out since then and bought since then. It's just convenient having them all in one machine. Because, yeah, the thing has way more memory than it actually uses. I think I have like 150 old games on that thing now. But anyway, one in particular that I was really kind of feeling mysteriously nostalgic for yesterday was Earthworm Jim 2. If you've never played it, it's actually a pretty impressive technical marvel for the friggin' Genesis of all things. Because, yeah, like, it had stuff, like, you know how in Terraria or something like that, you have that thing where you, like, go and you pick away at the terrain, and I don't want to say Minecraft because it's not exactly like that. Because it's a lot more like Terraria, where you, like, pick away at it and little bits of it go away. Except they took it a step further. Like, the very second level in the thing. You're basically going, you're basically this worm in, like, a power armor thing with a machine gun. And you're just going and you're, like, shooting the dirt, and the bits of dirt are falling down, making alternate paths, and you just literally carve your own path through the level. Such cool design and everything, and they had so many levels that had so many unique things going on, and then completely dropped the ball when it actually came to the combat balance of the thing, because so many of the bosses were just utter BS to the point where the only way I ever legitimately played it as a kid was just with extra lives cheats, because there just was no freaking way. That second example, the second level as a perfect example. You get to the very end, and it's just like this pupa thing. It's just this cocoon, pupa, whatever type situation. You shoot it, and it drops on legs, and it just walks back and forth. And every time you hit it, it throws a couple more things at you, and you shoot those things, and it runs faster and faster. But there's no way to get through that without getting hit. Meaning that if you didn't have an extra life up to that point, you're pretty much screwed the first time. If you don't come in with health completely, there's no way to avoid getting hit in multiple cases. It's a very small area. So you can very likely just find yourself doing that second one over and 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 never see anything past that. So it was a weird gateway that they put there. Like, especially considering there's so much cool stuff about it. I mean, hell, they have this entire one where out of nowhere, you've been playing this worm guy this entire time, out of nowhere you are just a salamander floating through some intestines. Never explained why. You got some Nocturne playing in the background, and, you know, it's all calm and somber after this bizarre, chaotic psychoticness of a game. And, yeah, then you get to the very end, and he's like, yeah, you know, he's been in this salamander suit this entire time, like, whips out a cow, throws it on a plank, jumps on the other end of that plank, the cow lands on him, and it goes to the next level. Like, what the hell just happened here? Like, at the end of every level, there's two cows that show up, and they're like, oh, well done, and they smile, and it's all weird, like, because it's this grainy old JPEG. That game's so cool, though. I think I might do a bit on that at some point. Because, I think this PS3 controller might actually be way better for it. I will say it did not age very well. Like, I heard some people say it hadn't aged well. I didn't realize just how much that was the case. Actually, after getting a little bit annoyed at that one, I went to another one that I always loved as a kid, but could never get very far in. So there was another one called Subterranea. Not a very well-known one. I know that we found it in the bargain bin. But, you know how there was that old Lunar Lander game way back when? It takes that concept. You have a limited amount of gas, you have a thing that basically flies like that thing in Lunar Lander, and the idea is you're supposed to, like, collect a few things, maybe fight a few things, maybe solve some puzzles or whatever else along the way. And so that's what you end up doing. By the way, I think I need to fix the audio real quick here. There we go. That is as quiet as I can possibly make the audio. So yeah, point being, it takes that kind of concept, and overall it tries to do a pretty good job of it, but it never explains most of the mechanics. Like, it will occasionally, like, come up with a little line here or there with a hint of what you're supposed to do. Like, once again, second level of that thing. You go from your first level, it's like, oh yeah, get used to your ship, you know, you've got a minute. You know, you got a minute. Oh, actually, Mr. Cow, it's not just that. You actually basically hand over cows to UFOs so they get you past places. By the way, I should mention the cow actually lands on him. The cows are surprisingly an important part of Earthworm Jim, for some reason that I am completely unaware of. But okay, so point being, this Subterranea thing. First level, they're basically saying, like, look, our radar kind of sucks, we can't give you that kind of information, that much information. Like, here's a map of the level, here's some dudes you gotta pick up, here's this module thing you gotta pick up in order to progress, there's probably some other stuff around, you know, explore around a little bit, and, you know, get used to your ship, have fun, all that sort of thing. Right off the bat, despite knowing that this game was BS, I still lost 3 lives, like, an inch away from the landing pad. Because it's so friggin' fiddly to control the thing that you're pretty much immediately gonna get screwed over. It's kind of nuts. But yeah, so pretty much immediately you're just in all kinds of mess in that case. You know, I think I'm actually just gonna do a Genesis day, or Genesis lunchtime one of these times. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Like, do the whole thing on just, like, random Genesis games that I used to remember. Because almost all of them are going to fail really early. Just due to... Okay, I should mention, like, half the stuff that I really liked came from a bargain bin. Because when it came to hobbies or anything else when I was growing up, that stuff had to be justified hard. So pretty much anytime there was actually a game, it was something that my brother bought for me, because, you know, he actually had some money from actually having a job and all that sort of thing. He's like, look, you know, here's this whole thing, and then you still gotta go do chores in order to get this Monopoly money, in order to get more time on your actual Genesis and all that sort of thing. It was kind of a fun system we had going. But at any rate, like, Subterranea, friggin' Bubsy the Cat, or Bubsy... let's see. Bubsy Claw's Encounter of the Furred Kind, that's what it was. So that was another one I played a crap ton of. I mean, Sonic 3D, and a bunch of people know of. There was a Tiny Toons game that I really liked. That one's actually pretty well designed, I will say. Earthworm Jim 2, probably nostalgic memories for some folks. Really doesn't hold up well. What else? Humans. Would anybody else here have possibly heard of Humans? Like, the game, I mean. Like, it's literally just a puzzle game with cave people. I kind of think it was supposed to be a Lemmings clone or something. Either way, let's see, there was that. What else? Judge Dredd, though I'm pretty sure some folks played that. Played a hell of a lot of what later became Bejeweled. I forget what the name of that thing was. You know. Yeah, tempted to do a Genesis thing tomorrow. No, wait, it's Friday. I can't do a Genesis thing tomorrow. Well, dicker. You know what? Screw it. I'll do it tonight. How about that? Like, 7 o'clock or so? Around there? Let's go get all my Genesis ROMs together. Make it a Genesis night. Sound like a plan? Buster Bunny, Babs Bunny, no relation? Nope. None whatsoever. They certainly didn't copy anything there at all. Although I will say that I personally was probably a bigger fan of Tiny Toons than Looney Tunes, which I know is heresy of the highest order, but it was just more what I was exposed to at the time. Though that being said, yeah, Phantasy Star is on Genesis, and I definitely should finish that run at some point. Why I haven't is a mystery. Why haven't I finished that run? I'll finish that at some point. Whatever. Well, and/or have it fail, because I'm pretty sure I'm getting close to the end there. Old RPGs, they kind of have a tendency to dick you over right at the end, so maybe. Maybe. Yeah, Tiny Toons is awesome, especially the game for it was surprisingly good. Actually, depending on what time the... Yeah, depending on how the schedule goes, maybe I can start at 6? No, maybe at 6. Maybe at 5, I don't know! Kiddo's gonna be running around and playing, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be just all kinds of chaos. And then I'm not gonna do any of this for a couple days. Because weekends. Actually, I've been told to put out one of them streamy, scheduley dealies. I'm not actually sure where that goes. I don't know how the people put those things. I mean, they'll basically consist of, well, I guess I'm just gonna do this from like 1:30 to 3-ish from now on. Something like that. So I've been paying almost no attention to this actual fight. Completely distracted. This is going about as well as last time. Are they doing any better at all? Let's see, there's 4 left standing. They are, across the board, doing a lot more damage, though. Just randomly remember, no summons. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on N64, but I will... The first thing I'm going to be doing for N64 is Ogre Battle 64. Because that's one that has been hyped up to the highest friggin' heights. One that I've heard so many amazing things about, and I want to try out as soon as possible, but I have to finish March of the Black Queen first. And for that, I actually have to actually do March of the Black Queen at some point. Yeah, I've been kind of lazy about getting those ones out. Whatever. I'll get some of those out at some point. Maybe I'll just do like Monday and Tuesday for March of the Black Queen next week. Ooh. Yeah, you know what? They might actually get some down. Oddly enough, I think the thing that I had the most fun playing on N64, of all things, was Jersey Devil. Like, I've gone back and gone for a lot of things. Like I've heard of a lot of amazing things of like Mario 64 and that kind of thing. I had the DS remake and all of that. The one that came with all the minigames and everything, and I think I had way more fun out of the minigames than the actual game itself. I don't know. Somehow it didn't really click with me, I guess. And yeah, actually that one, that's one specifically that I've heard of. That I've heard to try out a few times here. It's the one in first person, right? Where it's kind of this whole crazy, brutal first-person thing that's based on a lot of combos. Another one. You know what? If they end up lasting long enough, if they can end up getting enough dodges, they can actually pull this off still. They're trying to figure out what's happening based off all the dead pumpkins and ProCow posting tons of funny pictures. Well, here's what happened so far. The first round, the pumpkins got their pumpkin-y rears just handed right back to them, made into a pie. So it turns out that I forgot to put Tactician on them, so they couldn't actually use a lot of their abilities. So now that I've actually given them Tactician, for some reason their AI has decided, okay, good, I can use all of those sweet TP moves. Except I won't. Now I'll actually use all my casting moves that I haven't been using up to this point. So there's a few of them that are barely hanging on due to having incredibly high dodge, but they're at least doing better than last time. So yeah. Hello there, Fun Counting. How's it going? And yeah, I was actually just saying, I was kind of throwing around two different ideas for this evening. Whether to do a whole Genesis night of weird Genesis games that were badly designed that got inspired yesterday, or do more March of the Black Queen stuff, because I kind of wanted... I was going to do like Monday and Tuesday for March of the Black Queen, and then do like all the crazy Genesis stuff for this evening. Because yesterday I was going through a bunch of old stuff that I was really nostalgic for, and then immediately got reminded just how poorly they were all designed. Finally got to the end of the week. Yeah, that sounds about right. Been a weird week. Definitely been a weird week. Actually, I had to take the kiddo to the doctor earlier today. There was a whole worry over them getting sick, and seemingly sick, and then it turned out to just be one of those things that just sort of happens. Hey, they got one! They got one! There we go. Alright, what else happened? Dragons fought Hydras. Hydras got friggin' bent. Weird, long, and stressful. That's what she said. Peace. That's about right. Why was everybody sick last week? Alright. Let's see. Who else do we want to have fight here? Now that all the fights are over, there's more folks showing up. I had a Persona 4 team that was put together, but I don't think I actually finished putting that one together. Alright, let's do Golems versus Hydras and see how those do. Or Golems versus Singers. What about Skimpies versus Singers? Yeah, let's do Skimpies versus Singers. Terratatas, we got the There Was Silence. Let's get this thing going. And test a few fan theories for OB64. Wait a second, that actually got ported to the Wii? It's a Virtual Console thing now? It's making me wonder if it's on the 3DS by chance. That is something I'm gonna have to remember to check. If it's on the Virtual Console, I'm gonna have to go pick that up. Oh! Okay, yeah, I have to check if that has it. I really hope that has it for, what's it? For the 3DS as well. reset all these, and then I'm gonna have to go consult Google real quick. For this. Please tell me I have it. Wii U. March of the Black Wing for Wii. Oh! Yes, Ogre Battle will be added to the 3DS Virtual Console. Only in Japan. Dicks. Really? Really? Why you do this? Go to Vermilion? Yeah, I've tried that. I'm good, thanks. That one was in a collection of different Genesis games from a little bit ago. I can honestly say it was a little bit questionable. Like the game of walking right outside of town and getting murdered immediately. Yay! Gameplay. But no, seriously though, the worst design, I think, not necessarily worst design, because it's technically got a whole bunch of cool stuff to it, but Subterranea, that's one of the ones I want to show off with this whole Genesis thing. Because that game is actually potentially really good, it's got a bunch of cool stuff going for it. But it's literally just like, if you mix together... if you mix together like an old school kind of... what would it even be called? Just like one of those old puzzle games where you went and just like attached all kinds of different circuits to different kind of stuff, and then you tried to play it using the thing from Lunar Lander. So there's that. Like it's awkward at the best of times. Plus you're limited on how much gas you can use, like very, very limited. The thing somehow has lower gas capacity than a frickin' Humvee. And yeah, overall, it's kind of a wonder why anybody would ever use such a machine. Because the second level, you get into a boss fight, and the only way to actually win the boss fight is to hook your friggin' flying spaceship thing up to a rail, and just glide along the rail because you don't have enough gas to just fly normally. Despite the fact that there's 4 refills on gas, you more than likely will completely run out if you try to fight it normally. Otherwise, stuff's getting all jazzy over here. Gotta get all jazzy. Again with the Dragon's Child all the time. Dang it. Let's see. So for Wii as March of the Black Wing, Novi 64, yeah, so the 3DS is the one that only got it for Japan for some reason. The Dark Smith game sure can draw childbearing hips. Yep. He's, whoever drew for this definitely had some stuff in mind. Why don't you get a filter? Pie-baked band. Oh, jeez. I mean, if you're going for desert times, I guess break out a knife, break out a bowl, and go find a cactus. And that actually does work. You just gotta know where to cut the cactus and how. Make sure not to get any spines in there. But yeah, we have Uria versus Uria here. Good luck telling who's on what team. Sounds like one of the kiddos is getting up. Got about 8 minutes left here, so let's see how this goes. And if this suddenly goes silent for the rest of it, this means I got interrupted. In this species of 2 alkaline, don't kill poor Yeah, be careful there, man. Drink the blood of your enemies. Yeah, go fight all of those crazy chickens that hang out around there and just chug one of those like a Gatorade all the way into town. Jeez, that's dark. Oh, that's a good one, though. I don't have a feeling that would end up being way too much iron. Would you end up getting sick from... That feels like it would make you sick. Then again, what if your stomach got used to... I do know some people that like their food stupidly raw. I don't know. Alright, I don't even know what the hell they're trying to accomplish here anymore. They're just having a dance-off. Nature's Gatorade High Iron. I wouldn't even put it past, so I've been doing that RS run lately. Wouldn't even put it past that game, to be totally honest. Because there's all kinds of messed up crap just like that. Like one of the skills, I kid you not, just pretty much maxes out with the ability to just go and find gremlins and then choke them out for loot. Raw meat doesn't have actual blood in it? Well, fine, jeez. Still looks pretty darn bloody, though. Whatever it is. Yay, Wendigo! It's doing that 1 damage. Wait. Way to go, pumpkins. And water and some protein. Guess it has tasty juices. Fair enough. Fair enough. Although I think the weirdest thing I saw as far as food preferences wasn't even like the raw meat or whatever else. So there was this one guy that I saw who, for whatever reason, needed everything to be ungodly spicy. I don't think he could even taste stuff anymore. Because he kept some, like, he kept like a bottle of, I think, like ghost pepper sauce or something. Put that crap on everything. He just went and, like, took a casual little swig of the thing, said he can't even eat anything outside of it. Years down the line, ended up seeing iZombie. Made me wonder if that guy actually was a zombie, you know. Actually, you can actually drink actual blood. That is an actual thing that's possible, but there's a lot of what-ifs health-wise that I currently do not remember. But I think it's something along... Alright, be right back. Hello, I'm back. Alright, so, kinda seems like this is still a stalemate, isn't it? It's a little bit hard to see which way it's going. Oh, and if you're wondering what the deal is with the random tearing, as per usual, that'd be that whole simulate block transfer deal. So yeah, we'll be wrapping it up after this particular fight. I'm pretty sure the Terratatas have this one. Child, why do you have that? Come here. Yeah, especially if these singers keep doing this, this dragon dance. I think it's safe to say we can just fast forward through the rest of this. Don't exactly see them making much of a comeback anyway. This would be the time to find out if there was a pumpkin stop voice. Actually, random note. So what the guy was saying earlier, as far as hips go, though. So, if you end up looking at any of the full art for this game, they were surprisingly realistic about it. And this is going to be kind of an odd note, but as far as singers in particular, which, first of all, Yuria, it's kind of weird that they would even be, like, singing, okay, that makes sense. As far as dancing, they clearly designed her character to look like a dancer. Because technically speaking, if she's able to fly everywhere, doesn't need to use her wings that often, you would think, you know, that you'd think that they would probably be relatively lanky as far as legs go, right? Well, presumably those wings must weigh a crap ton, though, because if you pull up the full picture, or just pull up the wiki page for the Songstress class, I was hoping to see if they had a portrait, because those are the ones that end up looking the best on the little JPEG thing. I was looking for one of those, and like couldn't help but notice, like, dude, this lady's got, like, professional bicyclist legs. Apparently got tree log leg going on. Oh, where... One moment. Sorry, I have to go prevent some chaos. But yeah, let's see. Well, oh wait, that's the comment from earlier. I always found it kind of a little bit funny. Actually, another thing that's a little bit funny, if you end up looking at the Enchantress there, same thing. I was trying to find their portraits for one of these things, and yeah, if you look at the in-game portraits, they're like, yes, behold all the cleavage, which, if you look at the original artwork, instead of that, they've got, like, this fancy, like, kind of, I want to say almost like private school ribbon type thing going on. Which made me wonder if they had a board meeting one day where they're like, I don't know, we're gonna need something to sell them a little bit more. How about, you know, getting that ribbon out of the way, getting something to look at, you know? Because clearly when people think strategy games, they come for the boobs. That's, clearly the intention there. Yeah, I don't really know how the pumpkins are gonna pull this back, but hey, stranger things have happened, right? Yeah, that one time that the Gunners lost simply because they felt like eating a leaf instead of winning the fight. Which does do occur. Oh, what are you doing to that poor bunny? Have fun? Pulling off wrestling moves on this little rabbit. See, wasn't Yuri wearing caveman style dress? Yeah, she looked like a 80s metal singer with, like, wearing friggin' animal skins, exactly. This is bizarre. Let me see if I can find the picture. That mess was hilarious. There it is. Even more than that, no, come to think of it, I think... Let me double check something real quick here. I think she was the one that I was thinking of that kind of looked like Pat Benatar, but yeah, here's the comparison of the different pictures right here. This is just hilarious. So the one they went with was like maximum shelf cleavage for the remake. And then for the original, it was like 80s metal singer and a crop top type situation. Funnily enough, the only reason you're able to recruit her, and the only way to even recruit her, is if you have Gildas. Like, even if he's died but you have him with you. I always kind of forget this, but just the fact that he starts a random fight while at a performance is the only reason you actually get a chance to recruit her. The funny part is, I kind of wondered if the costumes, just because they were looking through her character and everything she could do, and they're like, it doesn't seem like she would be terribly viable, especially since you're starting what is essentially a new character, like, well past the end of the game at this point. Like, she's the first Coda chapter, so... Oh. What you doing? Give me that here. Thank you. You don't need that. But yeah, so she's the Coda chapter. Like, the very first Coda chapter. Odds are, in most people's routes, I'm pretty sure Gildas survived. I know personally, for me, he didn't, because I went neutral first time, but for most folks, he would have survived. So, You know what? I just noticed they seem to be targeting their Clear Sky ability and not using it. I don't know what that's about. Not Clear Sky, but I think Call Storm is the ability that they're trying to use. Oh! Child! What are you doing? Do not try to assassinate your father. You leave that there. Holy hell. Got one of those standing lamps. Just literally never messed with it. And just all of a sudden, like, what happens if I pull this over in your direction and I just see this lamp flying towards the side of my head? Oh, man. Ah, that moment when you almost get smacked up with a piece of furniture. It's an interesting time. Hey, you! Ah, you! You wanna watch stuff, kiddo? No? No interest whatsoever? Well, fine then. Trying to steal my M&Ms? I don't think so. They spilled those all over the floor yesterday. So yeah, I have a feeling that the Songstress team isn't going to be accomplishing very much. The AI doesn't seem to understand the concept of mass healing very well. You know what? Mr. Rakes, if you happen to still be here, quick thing. Would it be possible for Harvest Dance to be a little bit better? Like, maybe give some sort of, like, tiny but otherwise useless buff so that the AI uses it more? Like, I'm kind of wondering... I mean, enough stuff already has regen, so that wouldn't make sense, but... Fortify would be overpowered, Dodge would be overpowered. I mean, maybe it could give Healcraft. I'm pretty sure they would have some preference for that. Yeah, that's practically worthless. I hope one day that Mr. Rakes here ends up finding the kind of background numbers for how all of these work. Because obviously there must be some kind of point system involved, you know? Like where they're just going and they're calculating, like, okay, I can do this much damage, or I can do, you know, debuffs or buffs in this exact priority or something. Yeah, Denev's just cleaning house over here. Goodbye, Pumpkin Stopheles. I was actually trying to get a Pumpkin Stopheles, but unfortunately I would have had to go back in time to get him. So that wasn't going to happen. Master using enough, I suppose. Songs just think their skills are better. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, they really love that dragon dance. Oh, hey child, did you find fruit snacks? Fair enough. There you go. I'll open them up for you. And that was fair and square. I was gonna get you some anyway. If you miss him, he's the hardest recruitable. That is very true. Plus, I'm pretty sure he has a chance to spawn in with really high loyalty, doesn't he? Technically speaking, I guess I could have just gone and, you know, given something else with completely different base stats that name. I'm pretty sure nobody would have noticed, but then again, if one of them was suddenly very, very durable, who knows? Like, you're just fine? Eh, who knows? I'm not terribly likable. I make too many bad jokes. Alright, are you guys almost done here? Almost done turning all these things into pumpkin pie. Hey, how's it going? You smacking a dog with a balloon? It's like a balloon off a dog's head. That was fantastic. Actually, a funny story. So we had this pup that we were training as a seeing eye dog. So yesterday was her birthday, right? So we're trying to take a picture with this little, like, birthday kind of hat thing, like one of those ones that goes around the head and has little candles and all that. I'm sure you've seen it in a party store. So, my wife just basically tells me, okay, you've got one thing I need you to get done today aside from this list of other stuff, but I need you to go and take a picture of this dog with this hat. So I go and immediately I put the thing on her. Like, oh god, I smelled the last dog that wore this. Immediately pisses herself on the ground. So it gets put away, and clean up the mess, pull it out again, starts freaking out, ends up having another little dribble, gets put away, I clean it up, try this again. So, finally, by the way, I just want to point out, right here, she is charming a pumpkin from the other side of a wall with her skimpiness. That is some next level shy, like thigh showing right there. But anyway, so finally I put this thing on the dog, and she just freezes. Like, okay, I know I'm gonna get in trouble if I go and I pee myself again, but I know that I also don't like this thing. So she's just sitting there like frozen. So okay, at that point, I go and I reach my phone. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this picture. It's all gonna be good. The second I reach for the phone, she freaks out, just like smacks the thing off her head. And my wife didn't believe me that the second that you move after putting the thing on, even if you have a phone out, like if she sees that one of your hands is busy, her first thought will just be just immediately get this thing off the head because you don't have both hands to stop me. And yeah, just over and over. So she didn't believe me at first, so she tries it again today. Like, yeah, you know, I'll prove you wrong. So she puts it on her head, pulls out her phone, same thing, just smacks it off her head. Ultimately, same thing, just ends up getting a blurry picture while she's trying to take the thing off. Kinda hilarious. But alright, anyway, that'll be that for this one. By the way, one question I got asked during the RS run that I probably can point out right here. The only reason that I remade Sistina as the main character for that run is because they consistently get cut out of this exact picture. And yellow is very easy to do in that one. So, that's like the only logic behind it going on there. Anyway, that is about that. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else to cover. So, let me know if you have any other teams you want to see. I still have a list of other ones that I haven't made yet. Honestly, I'm kind of getting lazy on the remake teams just because they take a very long time to do. But for most of the ones that are a specific class against a specific class, those can happen. I'm thinking Swordmasters versus Knights. Oh! Swordmasters versus Knights versus Berserkers. Get that friggin' old meme out of the way. Okay, that'll have to be next week. Anyway, so see you next time then. Thanks for showing up.